Good morning, Flosstube friends. This is Sandy, and this is my channel, Stitching with Sandy. Welcome. I'm happy to see all of you. It's been a little while. Today is Saturday, March 25th, 2023, and I think it's been about a month since my last Flosstube. Life just gets away with you, and then you look back and wonder where it went. So if you've been a subscriber, thank you for coming back. I'm sorry it was so long. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope that you find something that inspires you or puts you in the mood for stitching. Since the last time I was with you, not a lot has happened, just a little bit. My friend Gina from our stitching group invited all of us from our stitching group to go over to her house and do stitching and sewing. A lot of us are wanting to get into quilting. So she invited us over for lunch and we got to go over and take our project. And I have always wanted to be a quilter. I never had anyone to teach me. Most things that I learn on my own with a video. I'm a very visual learner, so I need to be seeing something to do it, and then I have to do it. If I don't do it myself, I won't remember how to do it. And so for years, I've made different types of quilty tops and things like that, but I was never able to make them into anything because I didn't know how to do the binding. And when I met with friends that knew how to do that, they would show me and it would get finished, but I wouldn't know how to do it when I got home on my own. So Gina was a fabulous teacher, and she walked me through step by step and had me do every step. And I was so grateful because I had put together, my goal was that I would like to be able to have some quilts. I've always admired quilts. I've never had anyone make one for me, and those that get one made for you, you are super blessed. Because the time someone puts into that and then they gift it to you, it's like a special hug from someone who cares about you. And I think that's lovely. No one in my family quilts, so I was never a benefitter from a quilt. So I always wanted one, and I thought one day I'd make one, but one of the obstacles with being a full-time working person is that most quilt classes that are offered are usually offered during the week and during my work hours. And then every once in a while there will be one on the weekend, but a lot of the times it's for advanced quilters. And I'm not. My grandmother taught me a little bit about my sewing machine, but she really didn't go in depth. I've never had formal training in my sewing machine, so everything I've either stumbled upon on my own or I've picked up tips and things from friends. So I did watch a video. I wanted to do a table runner for all of my St. Patrick's Day decor. And so I looked up a video, and there was a lady showing how to make a shamrock, but she didn't show the entire square. She just showed that. I think she might have been a designer for that particular block. And so I think you needed to buy her block. I don't know. But I just watched her, and then I just kind of guessed on my own, and I came up with a topper for a table runner. And then I was talking to my friend Gina, and she said, I can show you how to do the binding. We'll come over. And so that's how the event started. And sure enough, we went to her beautiful house. We sat down. I got out my piece. I talked to her about how to do it. And she put me to work on quilting it, which I did not think I was going to get to learn how to do that. But she taught me how to take the topper, the backing, and the batting and put it together and quilt. She has great machinery to do all of that. I don't at home just have a simple, inexpensive sewing machine. I think it's a brother that I picked up at the store one day, thinking I was going to do some great things with it. So when she promised that when I left there, I would leave with a finished piece, and I did. And I was so excited. So let me show you what I made. I made this table runner. And as you can see, she taught me how to quilt it. And here's the back. And she taught me how to do the binding. Now, can I do the binding again on my own? I don't know. That will be to be seen. I don't know. I don't currently have a project to do binding on yet, but doing this weekend at her house did inspire me to start trying to do more quilting type projects. So a couple of years ago, I guess it's been 2 years now, I wanted to do the Bats and Boo's quilt that matches the Bats and Boo cross stitch that Fat Quarter Shop put out as a freebie years ago. I stitched up the piece pretty quick, and I started making the squares following Kimberly's tutorials on YouTube, but I never put it together. And mostly it was because I got to the center star, and when I was working on it, I had it finished and I was super excited, but then I learned later that when you cut down your quilt, you need to leave 1/4 of an inch on the edge, and I did not realize that. And I pretty much just trimmed it to the points of my star. And then I found out later that, well, when you go to put that together, you're gonna lose all those points. And then I was just totally bummed out about it, put it in a box, threw it in the closet, and left it there. So by going to Gina's, I got inspired. I took out the pieces and I took the star, I set it aside, and I put together a new one for the center and left 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And then I put the entire piece together because the video I left off on, the star is video number 3. And video number 4 is putting the entire quilt top together. So I was able to continue. I finished it. And next up, I will be sending it off to a quilter because it's too big to do any such thing like this on my machine. And when it comes back, I will try binding it. So hopefully, if I remember everything she taught me, I will have a finished quilt, my very first one that I did by myself in the near future. So I'm super excited about that. So that was one thing, and we had so much fun over there. Some people stitched. Some of us just went and talked. We ate lunch together. It was so much fun. Gina's offered to do it again, so we're looking forward to another fun day at Gina's house. All right, and then, let's see. Then I started doing something with my friend Sarah. So Sarah has a Flosstube also. If you've not seen her, she is Sarah Stitches, and her and I Zoom every Tuesday afternoon. It's funny because we have so much in common, down to our favorite things. A lot of times we'll talk about a pattern and we're like, oh yeah, I wanted to do that one. And it's the exact same thing. Or we'll both shop for something and then we share what we shopped and it's identical. Well, we decided we should do some crafting. Neither one of us have anyone we can craft with. I've always loved crafting, but it's way more fun when you do it with someone else. I'm sure you just saw him. It's my daughter's cat, Patrick. He, for some reason, every time I'm on, every time I'm in this chair and I'm on the camera, he wants to be a part of it. So I'm gonna ignore him, but he'll probably just hang out. Anyhow, so Sarah and I decided we wanted to start doing some sort of crafting. So what we did was we picked out, so I picked first, and I had been wanting to do a pin cushion that I watched a video from Kathy Haberman on Hands-On Design she had done using a hoop. So I looked it up, I watched it, I got all the materials needed, I made a list. I asked Sarah if she had those things or if she had access to those things, and she was able to had some of them, and then a few items she didn't really have locally to her. And I said, that's okay, I have extra, I'll just send you. So I made her a care package, sent it off. She got it in time, and we got together and we Zoomed. And while we Zoomed, we did step by step everything that Kathy Haberman said to do. And when we were done, we both had a pin cushion. So I'm going to share mine. She is going to be sharing hers on her channel. So if you want to take a look at hers, you can. But what's funny is when we were talking about what is your backing fabric that's going with it, we had identical fabrics. It was so funny. So here's mine. Here's my pin cushion, and here is the back. And I am so excited about this piece that one thing I thought would be fun is if you did a stitching piece, you could get like a long board and put some hooks on it, and then you could make a couple of plain ones with pretty fabric that you enjoy. Put one above and one below, and then put a stitch piece in the center, and you would have a display that you could change out. So that is probably something I'm gonna do, but I plan on making more pin cushions because I think this would be a fun gift to make for someone. Plus it's fun to have next to your stitchy share. So this was our first Zoom that we did. The second Zoom, she looked up a pattern and she found a pattern for making carrots. And it's so funny because I'm always at Hobby Lobby hunting down perfect little carrots for displays and decor. I never thought to make them. So she found a pattern and sent it to me, and then we both got our patterns, all our materials together, and then last Tuesday we Zoomed and we made them. And so this is our carrots. So I made 4. The pattern calls for you to make 4, but you can make less. So here are my carrots. They're so cute. So there they are. And I had lots of green scraps of fabric, but since orange is not one of my favorite colors, it's one of my least favorite colors, I didn't have any. So I bought all brand new. And so then we were like joking, okay, well, hold up your fabric. And we both held this up. Is that not funny? So we're just so much alike that way. So that was a lot of fun. Trial and error. We did a good job. I'm really proud of them. Can't wait to put them on display for next month. So what I wanted to tell you, the reason why I'm sharing all of this with you, whether you care or not, is that we decided we had so much fun that maybe there were other people out there who want to craft and do things as well, but maybe you have no one to craft with. So we wanted to extend an invite. If that sounds like something that you want to do, please email me. My email is in the description box below. And I think, I'm not 100% sure, but I think the next craft that we're going to try to figure out is how to make a tomato pincushion. I've always wanted to make one, and I told Sarah, so I need to look up a tutorial or a pattern or something and see if we can't do that. But we're up to anything really. So if you would like to be part of that or participate with us, what you can do is email me, and then when I know what we're going to do, I will email out the information of what materials you need. I will email out a Zoom link and the date and time that we're going to do it. And if it works for you, we'd love to have you join us. If it's not something you're interested in, that's okay. We're happy to have you if you're interested. All right, so that takes care of my carrots. So that was our crafty Zooms. We've done 2 so far. Hopefully we'll do more in the near future. The next thing was St. Patrick's Day came and went. My students, I'm a kindergarten teacher if you're new, and so I try to make fun events for my students whenever possible. And this year we did St. Patrick's Day. So basically, I have 2 groups of classes. I have a class in the morning with 16 students and a class in the afternoon. But when the afternoon friends come, there's like an overlap where I have all 32 kindergartners at one time, and that lasts for about 45 minutes, and then my morning friends go home. So I wanted to do a leprechaun came and destroyed our classroom. And I wanted to do that, but I didn't want to have to do it, clean it up, do it, clean it up, because that's really hard on your break. I literally get 30 minutes. I get 2 30-minute breaks. One when the morning friends are out at recess. That one I'm usually prepping because I know I'm going to have the afternoon class coming afterwards. So whatever we used in the morning, I've got to clean it up, refresh it if it needs more stuff added to whatever the activity is, or more copies or whatever. I need to put that back together so it's ready for the afternoon. So the morning recess, I really have little time to do anything, and usually I'll answer emails too. The afternoon recess is my lunch recess, and that recess is when the afternoon friends are out at recess. So I eat, and I literally might have 5 minutes to check an email or something like that, but I really don't have much time. So what I decided to do is, since they would all be there during overlap, I would figure out a way to do it during overlap. So what we did, and I told my colleagues, and we all ended up doing the same thing. So what we did is, when the morning friends went out to recess, when they come back from recess, there's 10 minutes, and then our afternoon friends arrive. So what we did is we trashed our classrooms, put green footprints all over our classroom, sprinkled a lot of green glitter or gold glitter all over the classroom. And then in my class, the one thing I did different than my colleagues, they just make a mess. I don't. I also have little clues that are hidden throughout the classroom, and each clue comes with a little cauldron, a little pot, and in the pot there'll be 1 or 2 pieces of gold coins, and those ones are plastic, and there will be a clue, and the clue leads you to the next clue. And when they get done, the final clue, there's a bigger pot that's filled with chocolate gold coins, and that one is hidden in the last spot with a little note telling them that you found the pot of gold, but the biggest treasure is how wonderful and amazing that you are and how special you are. And then I gift them all a piece of the gold, and they're happy, I'm happy, and it's a fun day. We also do fun centers as well, but that is the biggest part of the day. So what we did was the morning friends went out, I came in, and I had high schoolers that are doing an internship with me right now. I'm teaching them child development in action, and I've partnered up with the high school for a couple of years now to do that, and that gives their students an opportunity to be in the moment with children and watch how they experience things and then interact with them. So they were there, so I had them help me hide the clues, trash the classroom, put some green food coloring in the toilet, all of those things. We even drew a happy face in green paint all over the mirror in there. And then we closed the drapes, or not the drapes, the blinds. And when recess ended, I went out the opposite direction, went around the classroom, picked up my students, and right now we're learning about animal habitats. So we live next to a really big farm. So we went walking along the school. We looked at our different flower pots and talked about the animals that may be living in that area, in the planters. Then we walked around the back of the school so we could see the farm, and we talked about what animals were there, what kinds of things that they eat, what type of area they need to live in, and wasted time basically for 10 minutes. And then we came back and lined up, and by that time my afternoon friends were here. So we were able to open the door and all of them experience it all at once. So you can imagine how loud it is because they get super excited and they shout. But that was our St. Patrick's Day, and it was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. Had a great time. So that was my St. Patrick's Day. Next is my twins had their 13th birthday. So their birthday was on the 11th of March. Unfortunately, my family got sick. So my son got sick. It's like a weird virus. It lasts about, the actual illness part lasts about 24 hours. But then you have a lingering stuffy nose or runny nose and a lingering cough. But otherwise, the fever, the achiness, or it's kind of like flu symptoms, but it lasts for 24 hours. A little bit of sleep, next day you feel fine. So that started with my son. Then my daughter, one of my daughters, and we had scheduled her birthday party for the week of the 11th, that Friday, and she was too sick. There was no way that we could have a party and expose other kids to this. So we postponed it. We were going to have it on St. Patrick's Day, actually. That was the plan, but we had to postpone it. Well, then my other daughter got sick, so we were worried that we're going to have to postpone it again. But we ended up having it last night, and it was successful. They decided to do a painting party where they watched a how-to video to do painting. And then, unfortunately, this year was the first year. Now, these are my youngest. I have 5 children. My twins are my youngest, and they turned 13. And my instructions were, we don't need all kinds of decorations and things, Mom, and we don't really need your help. We're going to watch the video, pause it when we need to, do our painting, but stick close by somewhere so that if we need help, you can help us, but otherwise, we don't really need you there. So that was kind of crushing because when it's your babies and you're used to always facilitating everything, it was really hard to back up, but that's okay. I understand they're 13, that happens. But I can say I was a little disappointed. However, the party progressed and I decided that I wanted to paint too. So I was off to the side, did my own painting, didn't share what I was doing. I didn't want anyone to feel uncomfortable or think that theirs is not coming out nicely. and it went nicely. So I'm going to share with you for a minute, if you don't mind, what they did. So my daughters picked a painting that was a cherry tree hugging the moon, I think is what it's called. I don't know. And so here are their pieces. And they did that. And then I followed along the tutorial as well. And here is mine. And it's interesting because mine is completely different. So here's mine. So the instructor that was teaching them, her background was more of a pink, kind of like a evening sunset, hugging the moon. And the moon has a little bit of a white glow, but a little bit of a purple tint. But surprisingly enough, every girl at the party had one that looked like this. So, and they wondered why everybody's looks so different. But that's the beauty of these painting things. So if you're ever in doubt of taking a painting class, which there's a bunch of them, it's like a popular, let's go out and have fun kind of event with friends or even with your loved ones. I know they even have couple classes. If you're discouraged or not wanting to do it because you think that you have no art ability at all, that's not true. They guide you through everything, and everybody's looks different. And just keep in mind that nobody's is me hanging up next to each other's. So no one's, if I do mine different than you do, no one's gonna know because they're not gonna see mine if they're visiting you, and vice versa. So we had a really good time. The girls had their cake, had their friends here. Listening to 13-year-olds laughter is so much fun. Brings so much joy to my heart. And they did need me for quite a bit. They wanted me to teach them to blend, and they wanted me to help them with sprinkling a little bit of the lighting on the moon, which is great because art was one of my majors. So I was happy to contribute to that. And all in all, it turned out great. Everybody had fun. There was lots of laughter. We had pizza and soda, and it was a great time. So that's what I've been up to. I'm sorry that that took so long to describe, but it has been a month since my last video, so I apologize. Because it's been a month, I do have a lot of stitching to share with you, so if that's why you're here, which I hope it is, I have some FFOs I'd like to share with you. So let's start off with things that have already happened. All right, so this one is St. Patty's by Emily Call, which is salt and pepper stitching. And here it is. I finished it on this little wooden shamrock that I picked up at the dollar store. I like that it had the little hanging. And most of my pieces around my house are kind of small pieces. So to have a little bit larger piece that I can hang up was something that I was excited about. And so I just mounted it right on there. I really like how it turned out. Her pieces, her patterns are amazing, easy to follow, and her pieces stitch up really quickly. So I really enjoyed that. I plan to stitch a lot more of hers. And this is on 14 count, and it was like a light green Aida that I had. I recently organized all of my fabrics, and I realized I have quite a bit of Aida, which I don't mind. I like stitching on it. But I realized I didn't know I had so much, so I'm going to try to use some of it in and out of my stitching because I do like it. It's great for stitching in the car, or if I go to if I do a Zoom, or if I go to a stitching night, because that doesn't have a strong lighting, then it's perfect. So I'm trying to utilize it as I go. The next one is a piece you saw in a previous video. I had completed but didn't find the right piece for it. And while one of my visits to Hobby Lobby looking for a square-shaped piece, I found this piece. So here it is. This is Key to My Heart by Cherry Wood Design Studios. If you're not aware of it, Cherry Wood Design Studios is a company that Kathy Haberman used to be a duo with another designer. They did a design label together. And she actually, I sent this to show her my final piece when I finished stitching it, and how I changed all the colors in it. And she said that this was the very last piece that they did as a collaboration. So I'm happy to have it finished. I can't wait to post it on Instagram and show her how I finally FFO'd it. But I had found this little thing. It was hanging, sitting out with the tabletop decor. And this little wooden bead was actually strung from the top. But I knew that it would block my stitching, so I took it off and I attached it to the bottom. And I really like how it comes out. I feel like this piece was meant to be for this stitching piece. So it was perfect. I was super excited when I found it and couldn't wait to FFO it. So now I'll have that out for next year's Valentine's Day. So happy. All right, next up is Hands-On Design Seasons 2 March. This is done on 28 count Monaco that I coffee tea dyed by myself. And here it is. I love how it turned out. Yes, it wasn't up for the whole month of March, but that is okay because I'll have it for every year after that. And I wanted to show you something that I discovered. So I wanted to do this bow, but I didn't have any other object to attach. And at the top, I have a magnet glued to the top, which I change this out each month. So what I did was, and I wanted to show you in case you do. So there's my magnet. And since I didn't have a hard piece to attach the magnet to, and I didn't want the magnet to show on my bow, I literally just took a paper clip, pinned it to the back, and the paper clip hooks right onto the magnet, and there you go. So if you're ever wondering, like, what can I do? How can I make it attach? Do it like that. It was simple. I'm really good about, if I don't have something, finding some way to make it work, and it works. And so I can still change it out. I have it, it magnetizes right on, and it looks great. All right, next up is, I think this particular floss tube is Kathy Haberman Fanfare, because all my pieces seem to be hers. This one is the Mad for Plaid. This was a stitch along I did with Chantel's 141 Design Studio. She is doing a stitch along with all of her model stitchers. And so, of course, I joined. I'm on board with it. I had already stitched the autumn when Kathy Haberman put it out a year ago. I stitched it the next day and finished it off, but I will be moving it on to this. I'm really excited about it. But so Chantel was doing her stitch along, and since she was doing the backers for this and doing the stitch along, I joined in, and here's mine. And I know I found this really cute little bird at Hobby Lobby. There was only 2 left that were in the mint green, but they did have some blue ones there. And then I got these little cute strawberries. There's 3 of them in there. I think I bought 12, but I bought these at Benzie Design. So if you like felted shapes, they have felt that you can, wool felt that you can buy, sheets of wool felt, but they also have different shapes. And I just fell in love with their wool felted strawberries. So I bought some of those because I thought they go perfect with this piece. And so it's fully finished off, and I just adore it. Can't wait to get this summer one finished so I can put that one on next. So this was a fun stitch along. I'm looking forward to being able to change it out each month or each season. And now that she's doing different holidays and things, I'll get those and stitch them up as well. Okay, let me just set that down. And that was stitched on 14 count Black Ada. I haven't stitched many different pieces on black fabric other than Black Ada, so that's what you'll mostly see. And then this one is by Bent Creek, and this is called Thankful Quaker. And this was the reason why I was at Hobby Lobby. I wanted to finish it in a square, and I didn't want to do a frame. That's not something that I wanted to do this time around. So I hunted and hunted for a piece that would be squarish. And when I couldn't find a solid flat piece, or like a picture frame, kind of like the one that I did for the Valentine's Day one, I moved into looking at different objects for your home. And I found this basket, which I love. I thought it would be so cute on the Thanksgiving dinner table. And I put my piece in there, and it fit perfectly. So I love how this turned out, and I can't wait to be able to put it out on the table for next year. All right, that was a fun stitch. So those are all of my, oh no, I'm sorry, they're not all, I have 2 more. They're just little. The next one is, this one is Rain, Rain, Go Away by Prairie Schooler. And here it is. when I went to Gina's, one of the things I worked on was this. I wanted to have a beaded edge around my pillow. And so I was tried different ways of doing it. I had watched several videos and I just wanted clusters. So I ended up sewing clusters of 3 onto it and then just kept going. And I used one of those tubes of these little seed beads that you can get at Joann's. And then one of the things that we did at Gina's was, if you see my little heart pillow or my little heart patch, one of the things that I use is some Stampin' Up! Die cuts, and I die cut out fabric that I've put on heat bond on it. And so that way, when I need to stitch, after I stitch at the back, I can just hot iron it right on and I have a patch all set to go. Well, one of our friends, Kim, she had a whole bunch of pillows and she had been saying that she just had so many to do and she was just over the stitching. She didn't feel like stitching up the back right away, so they kept sitting and sitting. So I said, hey, I've got an easy way to close off those backs so that way you'll be done a lot faster. Let me bring my materials to Gina's and you could do it. So she finished, I don't know, somewhere around 10 to 15 pillows with it. And I'm so glad that I could help her do that. And I told her to let me know next time she wants to do some more so that she can add some on the back of her pillows. So since I was showing her how to use it, I did mine too. All right. I love rain. I have to say, California has had lots of rain. In fact, recently, this last week, along the coast, there were 2 tornadoes. We don't normally get tornadoes in California. And so much so that people on the news were just driving by. Oh, did you see that? And we're like, you probably shouldn't be out there. But again, we don't normally have those. And luckily, nobody was horrifically injured. There was a couple of businesses that had their roofs destroyed, but it wasn't anything super significant. So thank goodness for that. But and my heart goes out to them for losing money on having to replace things for their business. But I'm so grateful that nobody was hurt. So it's been weird. It's been super rainy, lots of big winds, and then like today, sunny and beautiful. And that's just been going on and off, on and off, on and off for the last several weeks. And we're expected to have more rain very soon. So I think on Wednesday. So next up, now this one is just my prototype. But again, I don't have anyone to teach me sewing. And I see something and I think I can replicate it and then I try it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, I make adjustments. So this is my prototype. I plan on keep trying, but I had, I want to say Not Forgotten Farm. I follow them on Instagram. They've been posting different words that you could stitch up. And if you remember, or if you don't, my word for this year is friendship. And I chose that word because I wanted to put that at the forefront of my mind every day, check in with friends, see how they're doing, make dates with them, because a lot of times we will say, oh, we need to get together, and then we never do. So actually putting those events down on the calendar so that you make it happen. And that's my goal this year. So she had posted friendship, and I was like, oh, I need to do that. And then Alicia from the Fanciful Flamingo had finished a pillow, and I really liked how she finished the pillow. I had no clue how to do it, so I decided just to try it out myself and see what I come up with. So this is the friendship one, and I made it into the little round one. I had this beautiful sunflower fabric that I had left over from when I did the pin cushion with Sarah. And then I made the ends with the little, I made a little ruffle. I've never made a ruffle before, so I have no idea if I did it right. And then I just tied it off with some ribbon. Now, I love how it turned out. I'm very happy that I was successful. The only thing that I'll do next time differently is, as you can see, my ends are not that long, so I'm gonna have to make my ruffles longer. And I didn't know that you had to do math for this, so I was just guesstimating how much I needed, and I thought, oh, about an inch would be enough, but it really isn't. So I had used a piece of 2-inch strip fabric, folded it in half, and then sewed my, made a ruffle on there. And then when I was done, this is how short it was. So in the future, the next one I do, I will make much larger and see how that turns out. And I'll just keep it trying until I get there. I don't want things that don't come out perfect to deter me from trying. I feel like a lot of times we will try something, and if we fail right away, we give up and we walk away. And I don't want to do that. So I will make more. I'm excited about it. And my next one, I will probably love even more. But this is my first one, so of course it's always going to have that special feeling that it is my first one. So I love it, and it's sunflowers, which I love, and it's my word of the year. So that's how I feel about that one. And I stitched that on a scrap piece of, I think it was 32 count linen that I just had. And then the last one is not an FFO, it's just an FO, and it's because I haven't found how I want to finish it yet. Nicole Spohr started a stitch along for More Chocolate Bunnies by Hands On Design. I chimed in and did that because I had the pattern in my stash and had been wanting to do it. So I pulled it out and started stitching along as my morning stitch. And I was really excited. I was staying on top of every target as they would send out, like, let's stitch this week, let's stitch this part this week. And I was staying on track, but then when they got done, she's finishing it on a piece that Chantel from 141 Design created for the stitch along. I don't want to use that piece. I would like to finish it a different way, but I haven't decided how yet. So here's my finish. I stitched mine. This is a piece of 28 count Monaco, and I dyed this in aquamarine Rit dye. And I dyed this last summer, and I love this color. It's bright, it's cheerful, and I thought it would be fun for a spring finish. So I'm really happy that I chose to do it. I love how it turned out. I love how the little bits of white kind of look like clouds. Kind of looks like a pretty blue sunny day. And I'm happy with it. I just need to find a piece for it. And since Easter's not till next month, I know you're thinking like it's like 2 weeks from now. That's okay. I will have it on display. I leave my Easter stuff up for the whole month of April. So it'll get its time to shine. I just need to figure out how I'm going to finish it first. So those are all my FFOs and my FO. So let me just check I'm going to quickly set these things back in the little crate that I wheel out here because I want to get to my notes so I don't leave anything out. All right, here we go. I think I've got them. So let's check the notes, make sure I don't leave anything out. It's been a while, so trying to make sure I don't forget anything is important. All right, so I'm gonna bring you to whips. So if you're new to my channel, I do a whip rotation. I'm following a rotation that is similar to Lori from Once Upon a Stitch. She inspired me to try her 2-day stitch. And so what I did at the beginning of the year was I chose 12 pieces, whips, 12 whips that I had already, it was 15 whips. 15 whips that I had started last year. 12 of them were from the New Year's Eve 12 by 12. And I placed them on the calendar in a notebook so that I would stitch each one for 2 days. And the way I divided it up was I chose topics. So there's one for each, or two for each season. So spring, summer, winter, and fall. And so there's 2 different pieces for each one of those themes. I picked 2 different SALs because I do like to do SALs, so I wanted to include those. And then I picked 2 different everyday ideas. Then I picked a magazine stitch because I have tons of magazines and I'm trying to start using them. If I stitch at least one piece, then I feel like I got my money's worth. And if there's nothing else in the magazine that I'm interested in stitching, I can then pass it along instead of them collecting dust in my garage waiting for me to use them. And then my other piece was I'm doing an ornament, a Christmas ornament each month. So I'm working on an ornament. And then my last thing is, just like with the magazines, I have some hardcover books. And so I'm doing piece from a hardcover book too. And it's exciting because the one I moved on to this month was what I wanted to do for so many years. And I'm so excited that I'm finally finishing it. So it's an older piece. I'll show you where I'm at right now. But I know I loved it then. I know that I'm gonna love it now. So let's get into my whip so I can share with you what I did. So I just recently had a new start. It was in the spring category because I had finished the spring Mad for Plaid. So replacing that, I chose Kathy Haberman's A Year in Chalk, and I chose April. I love how it says hello spring. It's funny because I have all of these and I've only actually completed one of them. And I think I start series and then I never finish them. Those people who are able to stitch one right after the next, after the next, after the next until it's complete, I commend you. I can't do it. I don't know if I lose interest, if something else catches my eye. I'm not really sure. I don't think in all of my stitching, I don't think I have one series complete, not even one. So, but I wanted to do a spring one. I love the daisies on this, so I decided to start it. And I just started it. It just finished up. Today is a new day, so it just finished it up yesterday. This is where I'm at. And I don't have that much far to go. I do go on spring break in a week. And so in spring break, my goal each day is to work on 2 whips a day. So I might pull this out and finish it just so I have it in time for April. But because I don't have that much more, I just need to do Happy. And then above it is the daisies, and then I'll be done. And they stitch pretty quick. So I'll probably get that done pretty quickly. So, and then I want to show you this bag. Look at this beautiful bag. Now my favorite color is green, and I have a friend named Michelle, and she's been making bags, and she had a bunch of this sampler fabric. I believe it's Blackbird sampler fabric, and she said, "Oh, I have some new green fabric," and I told her, oh, "Can I have one?" So she made her sister and herself a bag like this, and I think a couple others. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I would love a bag like that. So I was able to buy one from her. She's so sweet and the best storyteller I know. But I love that bag. It will be my favorite bag from now on. But she does other bags too. She doesn't have a store yet, but we keep pushing her to do it. We think she could. Here's another one by her that's gorgeous, isn't it? This is the first one I bought from her, and I'll show you the inside. Because she had the green one too. And so this one had the black, and this one had the green, and the green one was a request too. Like I said, she had showed me some of her bags and she had other ones, and she's like, oh, I have bolts and bolts of it from when I did quilting with it. And I said, do you have any green? And she looked and she did. So I love this one too. But in this one, I started the Teresa Kogut new stitch long. If you're a Patreon level 4, you get to do the stitch long. She did one last year and it was called Strawberry Manor, which you can now buy. It came out at Market. I completed that one, love it. And so I was excited for her to start a new one. Her new one is called Simple Life, and this is the section we have so far. Isn't it cute? Let me show you. So the recommended fabric, which I don't normally stitch on recommended fabric, only because I have fabric, so I never go hunting for what the model stitcher has done, unless it's a kit and then I already have it. But this one, because when she released the colors, I wasn't really sure what the piece was gonna look like, so I was afraid to just pick any old fabric like I normally do. So I went ahead and ordered the fabric, and we got it from Cedar Linens, and it's their Overcast. And here is my progress. I love it. It's softer than the last stitch along we did. The last one had more vibrant reds, or bright, or just beautiful. And this one is more lighter. So I'm enjoying it. I don't have too much left of this part to do. It releases, a new one releases every 15th of the month. So really I just have her skirt, the 2 bee skeps, and the trees and the bluebird. And then I'll be ready for part 2. So excited to have that. This linen's very pretty. It's easy to stitch on. Love it. It's pretty. Pretty, pretty, pretty. And I'm not a big linen fan, but I can stitch on it, and I will if I have to. My favorite fabric is Lugana, but she suggested this one and there wasn't a Lugana option, so I just went with it, and I know I'm going to be pleased with it, so no worries there. So that's one, and that one stitches up so fast. I've only really spent 2 days on that, so that one's going pretty quickly. All right, next I'm working on a SAL that I'm doing with Nancy Hauber from the Bougie Stitchers, and her and we are stitching Happy Halloween by Puntini Puntini, and I am moving right along. I'm really happy with my progress on it. If I keep this up, I should be done in time for Halloween this year. So here's where I'm at. Last time I shared it, I had all of this finished. So I was able to add in the skeleton of the top and the ghost, part of the tree, the green grass, and the other part of the fence. So it's coming out nicely. I love it so much. And we started it last year, and when we didn't finish it in time for Halloween, we said that's okay. We're early for next year. So, right. I think the best part about a stitch along with a friend is that it doesn't matter whether you get it done quickly or not. It's talking and sharing about it with your friend and knowing that someone's going along there with you. I think that's means more to me than actually stitching the piece. I have so much fun being able to message her from time to time and show her my progress and see her progress. So next up is Jardin Purvee's Rabbit in My Garden. I love this piece so much. I hope that she does more little snow globes. I hope this is the first of all the seasons. I'm hoping, I don't know. But this one is so cute. This one I'm doing along with the SAL for Katie the Novel Stitcher. She's doing Best Bunny SAL. So this is the piece that I chose for that, and I'm stitching it on a pink splash. So it's white and it has little pink splashes in there. And this is my progress so far, and it's such a fun stitch. And this is my favorite. I love that the negative space, because there's no stitches in there, that's just the fabric coming through, makes the design. I just think that's so creative. So I'm loving this piece. I'm hoping that the next time I pull it out that I will be able to complete it, because I just have the tree, the little clouds, and a couple of flowers. So I'm hoping to have that done by the next time. And that one is stitched on a 32 count, sorry, 32 count Lugana, pink splash. All right, next up, Autumn Love by Lori Holt. This one is on a 25 count Barley Lugana by Lori Holt. And here is the piece. I'm sure you've seen it before. A lot of people have been stitching this or have finished it. I have not finished it, but I'm enjoying stitching it. It seems like this one, in a 2-day rotation, I'm able to get 1 square done. So 1 or 2, depending on how much time I have. But this month I was able, or this time I was able to get this one finished. And mine looks a little bit different. So if you're wondering, like if you're stitching it and you're wondering, I switched out, there was 2 blues in there and I substituted them for greens. So this one, these are the 2 greens I chose instead of blues. The blue in the pattern It's just super bright, and it doesn't really go with what I have in my home. And I love this so much that I want to be able to hang it up probably all year long. And so I didn't want to have a color that wasn't something that I would decorate with. So that's why I changed it. So that one's moving right along. Hopefully, and when I work on these big pieces in the summertime, I'll have more time during the day to stitch, and I'll get further along than I've been getting along. But I'm not complaining because I'm stitching 2 days on these each month, which means they're just continue to show progress, and progress is wonderful. This is another Michelle bag. Oh, look at this one. She bought these panels. I fell in love with the panels, and so I had to buy them. I haven't made anything with them yet, but she turned them into a project bag. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? I just love this so much. And then here's the inside. So beautiful. I love the take courage. It's something I need to remind myself of more often. I'm a little bit timid. People don't believe me when I say that, but I really am. I have a lot of anxiety. This piece is called Spring in My Heart, and it came from the 2020 spring issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher. I had another opening for a new start, so this is a new start, and it's by Barbara Anna. This is what it'll look like. I love it, and this is where I was able to get so it's not very far. One thing I noticed is the month of March has been a very busy month. Either I've had to run a million errands after work, or my daughter's birthday party, or I don't know. I've wiped out and come home and take a nap on the couch, and when I wake up, it's time for bed. That's happened a few times. But my stitching, I just haven't gotten as much done in an evening that I normally would. So try not to let that bother me because I'm still stitching, and that's the important part. So here is the hardcover book. I'm excited to share with you. I had this Mary Engelbright book. I actually have 2 of her books. This one's like all stitching, and the other one is like crafts, cooking, and a couple of stitching. And I bought this years ago. I don't even know. I know I was working in special ed back then. I'm trying to see if there's a date for this. It was published in 1996. And in that time, my older boys who are now moved out of the house were still at home. They were little kids in school. And so my daughters weren't even here yet. But I loved everything Mary Engelbright. I love the bright colors paired with the black. That was always been something that I love. And I had all kinds of stationery and calendars and pens and things with all of her artwork on it. And when this stitching book came out, I had to buy it. And so when I was going through my hardcovers, trying to figure out what am I going to work on next, that's from a hardcover book, I saw this one and said, oh, you need to do that and you need to change it. So what I'm stitching is this piece right here. It's called Best Wishes, and it says make a wish. And the 2 little girls are making a wish on what we call wishing flowers. And so when my little girls were 2 years old, I introduced them to wishing flowers, which we all know are dandelions. And when we're wishing, it's really a weed, and we're blowing the weed seeds to spread them around the yard and get more weeds. But I always told the girls, it's a wishing flower, you're gonna make a wish, make a wish. So we taught them how to do it, my husband and I, and everywhere we went, they would always pick them. And my husband said, well, the good news is they're picking them so other people don't have the weeds. The bad news is when they're blowing them, they're just adding more seeds to more weeds. But they always did it, and we always thought it was so cute because they get so excited to find it. So what I thought I would do is, this little girl reminds me of my Cassandra, and this little one reminds me of Marissa. So what I'm going to do is I'm thinking about changing the colors of their clothing to match the colors that they loved at that time. Cassandra is a purple girl. She's always been a purple girl. Marissa used to be a pink girl, but now her tastes have changed and she's more of a, I like to wear black, or I like to wear teal or blue. So I want to do it when they were little, and I want to change their hair color to match my daughter's hair color, which is a dark brown, which is what I used to have as well. So I'm hoping to make those adjustments and to my piece. This piece will probably take a while, because if you were a stitcher in the 90s, which I was too, I've been a stitcher all along, there is a lot of color changes and a lot of back stitching. I don't mind either one. I actually enjoy more change when I'm stitching than solid blocks of color, because then I don't get bored, but the progress seems slow going. So here is what I did in 2 days, and it looks like almost nothing, but again, there was a whole bunch of different colors that made that one pink tulip, and then and the same with the sunflower. And then I backstitch, and I like to backstitch when I go, because then it doesn't seem like such a daunting activity. So I always backstitch when I go. It makes it a lot easier. Now, back in the 90s, when I was model stitching, they didn't want you to backstitch until the very end, and so I didn't. But for my own personal stitching, I've always backstitched as I go. I'm not really sure why they didn't want you to backstitch as you go. I've never seen the harm in it. The only thing I usually leave to the end is French knots, because if you move them around in your Q-snap or your hoop, you could smush them or they could come undone. So those I'll wait to the end. Same with beading, but not the back stitching. I don't mind doing that as I go. So next up, this was a new start too. So I had 4 new starts in my rotation, which made me super happy. And I'm doing another one. This one's my ornament. And for my ornament this time, I chose Holy Night by Barbara Anna. This one is from the, let's see if I can see what year. 2019 Christmas Winter issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Stitching magazine. I saw a lot of people were doing this one. I love this piece, and I knew I wanted to do it on an evening, a dark evening blue kind of color. So I chose to stitch it on 28 count, and I dyed this in denim. And there's the start of it. And I just think this is gonna be gorgeous when it's finished. So this is where I am. Again, look at the negative space, makes a beautiful picture. Different designer did it, and I just think it's so pretty. I think I find myself drawn to that. So I'm excited about that ornament. It'll be beautiful when it's done. So you know, I have a lot of stitching here. Sorry about that. If it feels long, I'm sorry, but I'm hoping that the different variety of designers will keep your interest. The next one up is, I did Friend Stitch a while back, and one of the Friend Stitch, it was the Gathering Friendship, Autumn Gathering it was called. This one is called Let Joy In. This was the big piece that we got from Friend Stitch, and I worked on something that day, but after that I just put the whole thing away and didn't get it out, and so I figured it's time to pull that whip out, and here's where I'm at. So I finished the first section here with the birds. I'm moving on to the house, and I'll do the border as I go. I love this. Friend Stitch, if you're unaware, is a collaboration between Bent Creek and Heart and Hand. And they have, actually, they just yesterday had registration for a Halloween pop-up Friend Stitch, and I signed up for that. Did you? If you did, maybe I'll see you there. I encouraged my friend PJ to do it with me. I thought we could both sign up for it, and then we could get together at my house or wherever. It doesn't really matter. Maybe we can do it at her house, my house. Maybe we'll meet at Panera Bread. But we thought we could do the Friend Stitch together, watch one computer, Zoom in with them, and then stitch together. We thought that would be a lot of fun. So I was able to convince her, and we're both signed up. All right, my last whip. Sarah and I were going to, we've been doing different pieces that we stitched the same together. And so our next piece that we got was Santa Stops Here by Brenda Gervais. And I had got all my stuff for it and thought I had everything. And then when I went to stitch, I was missing one color. Well, the color that it was the color that started in the border. And so then I kind of froze and didn't start anywhere. So she started hers before me, but I am now, the color finally came in. I'm stitching this on 32 count mint splash. That's this one. And here's my start. I was able to get this part of the border done, and I started on the inside with the trees. I think it's going to be so pretty on this fabric. I really like it. So her and I are stitching that. And I can't wait to see how it turns out. I love when you take a fabric that's completely opposite than what they used, and then you get to see how it turns out as you go. And so I'm excited to see it finished. I can't wait. But so her and I are stitching that one. So those are all my whips. So you can see I was quite busy. Got a few new starts. I'll have a new starts next time because of all the FFOs that I shared with you. So that brings me to haul. So if you're still here, I have some haul to share with you. Just let me move some of these whips out of the way so I can get to it. I wish I had a larger space to put everything, but I do have a little house and little me space in the house. When you have a large family, you try to make do with every little space, and that's what I do. So I didn't do a lot of pre-orders like most people did for Market, but I did order a few things when Market finished. I only had one pre-order, and I'll explain why I did have that, but this is what I've got so far since Market. This is definitely not everything I would like, but I'm trying to get a little here, a little there. So the first thing is I had to have Jeanette Douglas's Chubby Bunny. I have Chubby Bird. I haven't stitched it yet, but I'm hoping to stitch it next month. And if I do, I will probably stitch this one too. So cute. And then I bought, I think Kathy Walker from Two Needles Pulling Thread is doing a stitch along with Alicia from the Fanciful Flamingo. They're doing Stitch All the Bees. I'm not sure the name of the SAL. I will look it up when I'm done, and I will try to put it in the description box. But if for some reason I leave that out, you can go over to either one of their channels and you will be able to find the hashtag from them. So I stitched a lot of bees last year, and a lot of the pieces that everybody's stitching right now are ones I completed last year. So I was looking for a bee to start with, and I found this cute little one, and it's called Quirky Quaker Queen Bee, and it's by Darling and Whimsy. And I just thought that was so cute. So I'll stitch this one. I don't know. They might all be finished by the time I start. I noticed that a lot of people in the East Coast are like done with winter, and they really want spring and summer to come. So a lot of them jumped on stitching bees. I don't put bees out until May. So I want to get all my spring and Easter stitching done, and then I'll move on to bees after. So I'm holding off a little while, but I will be stitching this, and I will hashtag. The hashtags last forever, so I will just use that hashtag when I'm ready to share. And then I bought the Honey of a Tiny Town. I now have all the ones that are out. And I also bought a Honey of a Frail. These are both by Heart and Hand. And then I bought the floss for them both. And I just put them in this little organza bag to keep it with it, so that when I'm ready to start. I love this one. The fact that there's sunflowers in it, that has my name all over it. So beautiful. All right. And then this was my one and only pre-order, and I only pre-ordered it because I wanted to get the backers for the piece. So this is Kathy Haberman's Hands-On Design Polar Plunge. I bought, isn't he so cute? Polar Bear Peak. This one's my favorite, so I will probably stitch it first. Then I bought, well, hello there. I love that little catchphrase. And then I bought Wally the Walrus. He's so cute. And I plan on buying the 2 that release in May, and I can't wait to buy the one for her charity fundraiser for Special Olympics. I'm probably gonna buy more than one. I asked her if she'll explain how I could do that so that I could purchase some and send them to people to stitch, because I love that, being able to donate to Special Olympics. It means a lot to me. I used to work for them, and I ran the phone call situation where you have to call for donations. Telemarketing, that was not a fun job because you try to say something and people hang up on you, but you just keep going. And I raised a lot of money for them, and then I worked in special ed for so many years and actually went to Special Olympics in our area. And even at the school I'm at now, we just sent off our Special Olympics athletes to go compete in our city, and then they'll move on from there. And so I love celebrating them, and if I can donate money and encourage others to do so, I certainly will. So I had to get Chantel's 141 backers that I go for this. Now, these were, I believe, intended to be ornaments. I've decided that when I have all 6 finished, I'm going to take them on here and I am going to make a banner to hang from my mantle. I think that's how I'm going to finish them. And that way I can display them in January for my winter display. So that's what I'm intending to do. So keep following me, and in the future, I will be able to show you my finished piece of that. And then I only have one more piece of haul, and this piece of haul is not stitching, but it's stitching related. And I wanted to tell you because the customer service on this and the time that it took to create it and then send it to me was phenomenal. I highly recommend this Etsy shop, so I wanted to share it with you. So somebody was recently, I had talked about having labels to put on my swaps because I do run swaps. And so I thought I need to have some labels that say they're made for me. And I never thought to get any done. And when I was trying to look it up on Google just to find a company that made them, I couldn't find any fabric ironed on ones. And so I had said that on one of my floss tubes, and somebody had recommended this company, and I looked it up. I saved it in my favorites for a day that I could actually spend time browsing, and I found it, and this is what it is. It's by Ever Emblem. Here is her website, everemblem.com. And I had these labels, and it says, Stitched with Love by Sandy Alba. And what she does is you go on the site, you pick out what you want. You can choose your font if you like. I love the font she already did. And then what they do is you type in exactly what you want it to say, and you can buy it by the sheet. And I did all of that, submitted it, paid for it, and the very next day they sent back what it would look like in 2 different styles. This one was a bold with my name in bold, and then the other one, it was a little bit softer, so not so much of a bold line. And then I got to choose, and as soon as I chose and responded, she made them, and the very next day they were shipped. And then I had them within probably 3 days of that. So it was a very fast process, and I couldn't be more thankful and grateful to that company. And I definitely will be shopping there some more because I was impressed. If you have good customer service, you'll have me for a lifetime. I just love that. And so even after I received it, she messaged me to make sure I got my thing and that I was happy with it. And so I thought that was really great too, because a lot of times you'll buy something and no one ever, they don't communicate after the sale is done, but she did. She checked to make sure I got it and that I was happy with it. So If you're looking for something to add a label to, Ever Emblem is the place I recommend. All right, so that was a lot of stitching today. I do have a couple of, I want to do a swap update. So my swap update was called Spring Bloomin', and we're doing swaps with floral themes, and the date for that, so if you're someone in my swap, yours should be sent off by the 1st. So I have mine ready to go. I just have to FFO it and then get that together so I can mail mine out too. So that's the update. The other update I wanted to tell you is if you didn't know, maybe you haven't seen that Flosstube, or maybe you're new to my channel, I host a Zoom on the 2nd and 4th Sunday of the month. I start it at 10 o'clock a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and it goes from 10 to 2. You can pop in. You don't have to stay the whole time. Whatever time it is where you live, feel free to pop in, pop out whenever you're ready. But we've been doing it for a couple of months now. It's been a lot of fun. Different people pop in. We share what we're stitching. We talked about market. We talk about what we're doing. We have a couple of friends on there that are going through school, so they share their experience. We talk about what we're doing at work. I don't know, it's just a lot of fun to connect with someone else. We've connected with a lot of people who don't have anyone that they can talk stitching with, and they just want company. And it's such a great way to get together with a group of friends from your home, the comfort of your own home. You could be in your pajamas, you could be dressed. It's up to you. You can snack while you stitch. You could just come to listen. There's a couple of ladies that pop in there. They'll share what they're stitching, and then you don't really hear much else from them, but they're there and they are a part of our group and they get to be with us. And so it's really fun to stitch with friends. If you think that's something you'd like to do, I host it the 2nd and 4th Sunday of the month. If you're interested, email me. My email is below, and I can send you the link. Save the link, save that email, and then every 2nd and 4th Sunday, you can just click on that email and it'll click on that link. It'll take you right in, and then you can join us, and I hope you do. In that, we have met a few other Flosstubers too, which has been fun. So that's going to bring me to my next part. I want to share out some Flosstubers that I'd like to mention. One that I met, she zoomed in with us, and her name is Paula, and she is the 502 Stitcher. She's under 1,000 subs club. I'd love to help her increase her subscribers. She is a new cross stitcher, and she doesn't really know anyone in real life that stitches, so that's what her motivation for starting a Flosstube was. She stitches a lot of the same things that I do. She's from Kentucky. She has 3 young children, and she's such a sweet, sweet girl. She joined our Zoom. We were talking to her. She didn't get to stay very long because, of course, children require their moms a lot of times, so she had to go out. But for the time that she was there, it was fun chatting with her. And I went over and checked out her Flosstube when I found out she had one. And I'm glad that I did. I like seeing the progress that she's making. And she's made a lot of progress considering she's barely started. I believe she just started stitching this last September. So she's come a long ways, and she's made a lot of pieces since then. So if you have you have some time, please check her out. I will link her below. Her channel is the 502 Stitcher. All right, and my next one is Shouted Me Out, and of course I went to go find out who they were, and they are the Lone Star Stitchers. They're also a new Flosstubers. There's a pair that's Christine and Michelle. They're also under 1,000 subscribers, so let's go help a girl out and subscribe. And a little bit about them is Michelle is a new cross stitcher, and when she discovered stitching with the housewives, that inspired her to get started stitching. And then Christine has been stitching since the 90s also, and she, just like a lot of people say, they started stitching in the 80s and 90s, then life got in the way, they had children, different things came up, and they recently came back to it. That was her. She said she came back to it, I believe, in in 2019. I could be wrong. Check her channel out. You'll find out for sure. But she also found Priscilla and Chelsea with Stitching with Housewives and was inspired, like I was, to finish your stitching in other ways than framing, and framing. So get your stitching out and finish it so you can put on display. She discovered that too, it inspired her, and now she does a lot of finishes and puts them throughout her house. And it's got her stitching again all the time. She stitches every day. And what's neat is the two of them met at a stitchy get together. So how fun to have a friend close by that you can stitch with. So check those two Flosstubers out. I'll link them below. I hope they bring you joy. They stitch, both channels stitch a lot of things that I would stitch as well. So if you enjoy my stitching, I know that you'll enjoy theirs too. All right, so that brings me to my giveaway. So before I start the giveaway, I want to remind you, I'm sure you've heard this a lot from other Flosstubers, but I'm still going to remind you, you must be 18 years old because I do need to ask you for your address if you are chosen as a recipient of the giveaway. Also, please do not say giveaway or freebie or any such thing because people will Google those words in the YouTube box and it'll pop up anywhere that somebody said that, and then they try to get those prizes and they're not really interested in stitching them. More or less they want to make money off of it. So also, there's been a lot of spammers. I've been lucky enough not to have any spammers, but there has been some that have been reaching out telling you that they're winners. They might pretend to be me and say that that you're a winner. They need your address, your personal information. That is not how I will notify you. I will notify you just like right now where I am talking in my video. I will announce the winners and then I will wait for you to email me to let me know your name and the pattern that you won, and then I will get your information at that time via email so that I can get it out to you. So that is how I'll notify you. So you'll want to come back and check this out. If you don't come back in the next video, I usually will wait a total of 2 videos. After the second video, if you haven't claimed it, then I will put it back in for somebody else to win, and it'll move on. And so my 2 pieces this week are, the first one's by Lindy Stitches, and it's called Poor and Needy, and it says, "As for me, I am poor and needy, but the Lord takes thought for me." And this is the piece. So if you're interested in this one, because of the little keys on the pattern, I chose the keyword as key. So if you say key in your comment, that'll enter you into that prize. And then the next one is by Country Cottage Needleworks, April Sampler of the Month. Here it is. I stitched this one last year. It's so cute. These stitch up really fast if you've never stitched one. And the keyword for this one is carrot, and that is because you'll see there's a carrot motif here in the design. Okay, so if you're interested in those 2, use the keyword. And I don't have a question this week. I just didn't think one up. So thank you for coming. If you like what you see and you like joining me in my videos, please like and subscribe. I could use the more subscribers to bump me up to the next level. Not sure what happens then, but a lot of people are encouraged to do that, so I guess I should be doing that as well. Or if you just like to come visit and see what I'm doing, you're always welcome to do that. But until I see you next time, I would like for you to be courageous, be confident, be creative, but please be kind. More kindness in the world goes a long way. Have a great couple of weeks, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.